You used to that? You like that? Padres
Yeah,
reliever
we're
Mason
we're
Miller.
still getting used to it. Still getting used
Okay.
to it, but it's got a nice ring to it for sure. And settling in first three games, and now we're on the road. So, getting acclimated and feeling good.
How was the
How
weekend
long?
for you?
The weekend was fantastic. I mean, it was chaos every second of it for sure, but really enjoyed it and felt some things on the mound that I haven't felt, so far in my career.
Mason, how long do you think until you'll understand when people introduce you? No more Sacramento Athletics. You're now a San Diego Padre, where they actually sell out every night in Petco with like 40,000. They set a new record every single night. They add one person every day. So they're like, oh, yesterday we had 40,001. Today we're going to have 40,002. Like, how long do you think until you'll finally realize that, man, I am a San Diego Padre now?
I felt like getting into the game that first time, was the big hurdle. Now it's kind of pinch yourself a little bit when you walk out there and, the stadium's packed out. Um, you know, there's just energy and buzz, from the moment the first pitch is thrown or even before that. So it's definitely been a switch for me, but I'm really loving it.
Hey, going back to you went from playing your most of your home games in the minor league, AAA ballpark. Now your home games are going to be there. Does it feel like you kind of made it back to the big leagues a little bit, or is it going to be a little bit more pressure, or just excitement, ready to go?
No, I would say excitement for sure. It was an adjustment playing there this year. But I think after a certain point, that adjustment has to be made, and it's just playing ball. So the atmosphere obviously is different, but we'd made that mental adjustment there in Sacramento, and we were playing big league baseball games, even if the atmosphere didn't feel that way.
Okay, I have to ask about Sacramento because Severino's had all his comments. Other players, was the mound that bad? Was the mound, because other people have said the same thing? Like, is the mound really that bad?
For me, I didn't mind it as much. They did do some work on it early in the year. It was pretty hard, but when it bakes in the sun all day, even though it cools down at night, it's going to be pretty firm. For me, visually, just the single level broadcast booths was what threw me off the most. Going from, a big league stadium backdrop to that was the bigger difference for me. The mound really didn't bother me.
Hey, now that you're over in San Diego, have you talked to Shield about what the roles might be, how it might play out, or is it kind of just go game by game? I know Shield usually has a plan in place, and he's always been really good at communicating. What do you got for us there?
Yeah, yeah. So far, we've had discussions, and I think everybody has kind of came to the same conclusion that everybody has the same goal of wanting to make it to October and make a deep run and compete for a World Series. And whatever that role is, I'm prepared to do that. I know that these guys have had a lot of success here, so it's kind of figuring out how I fit into that equation while also keeping everybody fresh, and primed for a nice run this offseason or going into the playoffs this year.
Mason, you want to be on the mound in the ninth inning. Come on, dude. It's okay. It's okay. Listen, Suarez is great, but we all know the adrenaline. We saw you out on Friday night when you got out there, the emotion. So it's okay to say, hey, I want to close. It's okay. You'll
Yeah,
figure it
I mean,
out. But trust me.
I told Mike when we talked. I said I'm comfortable in the ninth inning, and I've been closing for a year and a half now. But coming to this team at this time, and in this playoff push, it's not my spot to be disruptive to what this team's got going on, and they have a lot of good things going on. So we want to supplement that. Not only myself, but the other trade pieces we got as well. So they know that I am comfortable in that role, but I am prepared to pitch the eighth, seventh, whenever I can to get us to that, get us to the ninth inning and get a win. That's all that
You,
matters.
you ain't you ain't pitching the seventh. Don't worry. You ain't pitching the seventh. Okay. Let's just get that out there right now. You ain't pitching the seventh. All right. So I want to know how you found out about the trade. Did anybody in the Athletics come to you and say, hey, this is a real possibility for you and Sears? Or did you just kind of find out like everyone else as a surprise? Did you know this was coming? Because I was never traded during the season, so I don't know how that goes. But does someone call you in the office and say, hey, Mason, listen, because you missed the game, right? You missed the game the night
Mhm.
before, and Kotze said, oh, you were a healthy scratch. So is that your first inclination that you were going to possibly be traded?
Yeah, I mean the rumors are what they are, so you kind of have an idea. You just never know what how much weight they hold. My agent had been speaking with Forrest, and we knew that there was a possibility. San Diego obviously didn't seem like the right fit, just based on what kind of package they could put together initially. So they weren't something that we expected. But come Wednesday, I didn't find out till the eighth inning that I was a healthy scratch. It was a safe situation, and Cots called. Our bullpen coach Hubby put the phone up to my ear and said, "You're not available tonight. I can't pitch you. Sorry." And then I spoke with Force that night, and he said nothing's done yet, but that's all I have for you right now. So, yeah, I felt like if you're holding me out of a game, there's got to be a pretty good chance that the deal's 95% of the way there. And then found out the next morning with a phone call.
So, with the way the conversations were going, and I'll add that the Padres already had one of the better bullpens in baseball, including, at least four guys that you could fill in for most teams as an eighth or ninth inning man. Were you surprised when you heard that it was actually going to be San Diego versus any other club?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all seen the track record AJ's had at the deadline, and he's not scared to make any moves. So, I consider myself blessed, and I'm really grateful that they thought as highly of me as they did to put together the package they did and get me there. And I'm looking forward to helping them impact this push and pitch into the postseason.
I know. So I have unfortunately been traded at the deadline a couple of times, as AJ has. AJ was so good they never got rid of him at the deadline, or he was always on a team that was just barely enough in it. I don't really know what he was doing, but what's it like? Tell the fans what's like, because it's different, man. You gotta go pack up. You gotta get all your stuff ready. What was kind of the most chaotic part of getting yourself all packed up and getting out of there?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, the A's were off Thursday, the deadline day, as were the Padres. So I kind of got a little bit extra time. It wasn't as chaotic maybe as some guys have had it, where it's you get traded and you're on a flight in a couple hours. I took a flight the next morning, but really it's just the fallout of it, where you kind of just feel like kind of stuck in time. Like it's happening, but you're not leaving yet, and you're just kind of throwing everything in bags and you kind of felt like and planned that you were going to be somewhere for the rest of the season. Obviously, knowing there's a chance to be traded, but once it happens, it's just kind of like everything starts speeding up on you. And I just felt like as soon as I got down here and got outside and got to throw and feel like a ball player again, that kind of put my brain at ease a little bit. But it's still just housing, all your stuff, family, just the logistics of all of it. Fortunately, it's Northern California to Southern California. That could be a lot more distance between the two teams.
That's true. Did you get to say goodbye to your teammates, or because you had the off day, you didn't really have the time with them in the clubhouse, right?
Yeah. It wasn't like an official thing, unfortunately, and that is one of the parts that kind of sucked about it. But I said bye to some guys Wednesday after I got held out of the game. Just kind of knowing like, hey, I might see you Friday, but if not, thanks for being a great teammate, and I love playing with you. Definitely bittersweet for me because I was drafted by the A's, came up with them, played with a lot of those guys for several years now. Um, but that doesn't compare really to the opportunity to go play for postseason baseball, and that's what we all do is compete, and it felt like opening day again, like the excitement and the drive and just the willingness and expectation to show up to the field each day and expect to win. I think that was something that hit me right in the face as soon as I walked in the door.
Okay, so then take me through that first, 12-hour stretch. You get into the new clubhouse, right, with the team. Like, who's coming up to you and saying what, right? There's some guys that have been there for a while, some veteran guys too. And then all the way through your appearance, I was glued into that game. I think a couple knocks, there's some pressure. Machado makes a sweet play for the double play. You're fired up. I think, Arise did a 10 out of 10 split, the whole deal. So what was that whole experience like from entering clubhouse through end of appearance? Take a deep breath.
Yeah, man. I mean, really, even since before I got there, everybody's just been so welcoming and so excited to have us here. So it's felt natural. Everybody in the clubhouse has been super cool, super welcoming. It's a tight knit group for sure, and they have a lot of fun and they play great baseball. So it's a fantastic combination and a locker room that you definitely want to be a part of. So really just dealing with all the, meeting everybody, 150 names, quiz tomorrow that I'm definitely failing type thing. Trying to remember everybody's name, but meeting all the guys and hanging out a little bit, handling all the media and trying to go about your day and have some semblance of normalcy. Trying to find that before the game. So I had like an hour before the game where I felt like I could breathe a little bit, chill, get ready for it. And then I was really happy to get in there that first night too, because obviously when you go somewhere new, you're anxious to get in there and play with the boys and throw up a zero in my case. So working through a couple of hits and fantastic defense behind me, just the atmosphere coming into the game was something I'd never felt. I felt like my hair was standing up. Probably the closest it's felt was my debut, just in terms of nerves. But feeling that every time you go in the games, that's a crazy feeling.
It's summertime, it's bathing suit time, and it's time to get a better bathing suit liner. It's 2025, Kratz. I would like to feel more comfortable, and I would like to thank Fair Harbor for doing that.
It's super easy. Get the Fair Harbor Breeze Knit liner in your shorts. You can go play football on the beach. You can play paddle ball, and you don't got to worry about that crappy liner that other bathing suits have.
It is so comfortable. You got to check it out. I'm telling you, it's like butter, baby. You got to check out the Fair Harbor, not only bathing suits, but they carry a full line of casual clothing, shorts, shirts, hoodies. Go to the website, fairharborclothing.com/foul, and use code FOUL for 20% off your first purchase. That's fair, HARBOR clothing.com/foul for 20% off your first purchase. And make sure that you use the FT promo code so that they know we sent you and you get the discount, FOUL.
Has there ever been, or has there been any talk about the possibility of maybe in the future going to starting? I know that the Padres themselves have some guys coming off the book. Is that something you would be interested in, or is it right now just kind of, hey, I'm here doing this right now and then see where it takes me?
Yeah, I think all focus is on this year and pitching out of the bullpen. That's not to say down the road we can't revisit and have conversations and being able to think about and say that I'll be here for 4.5 years. I think that's super exciting, and I think there are possibilities of that. But for the time being, the focus is 100% on this season and having success in the bullpen down there and being pulling my weight in terms of this top bullpen.
Mason, how much did it help to have JP Sears go with you? How much did that help to have a guy that you knew that you were tight with that went from I almost called him Oakland, from Sacramento to San Diego? Like, that has to help, right? When you have a teammate that's on the same plane and everything with you and then walks in the clubhouse with you, it's got to be a huge help.
100%. Yeah. JP and I had lockers next to each other in Sacramento. So definitely known each other for a couple of years, good friends. Very reassuring for me, but more so I think for both of our wives also, just being in it together a little bit and having spent these past couple of seasons together, and you pick up and move your life, and for us it's kind of easy, just lean into the game, and it kind of sorts itself out. Sometimes for your families it's a little bit more challenging, so I think having the two of us come together was really a blessing, especially for me and my wife being our first time getting traded.
Yeah, people forget it. This also involves wives and kids and families and not just the players. So, yeah, shout out to wives who help you, move. Now, by the way, two quick things before we let you go. One, it was super awesome, the picture you took with the kid with type 1 diabetes. That was an awesome photo. So kudos to you for doing that. People that don't know your story, they can Google it. We're not going to get into it. We've got into it here before. So that was awesome that you did that. And then lastly, there's the picture. That's pretty awesome that you did that. And, good luck to that kid and with everything. But before we let you go, I have to ask this question. We had Nick Kurtz on last week. Who's the rookie of the year, Jacob Wilson or Nick Kurtz?
Yeah, it's going to come down to these last 2 months for sure. That's the exciting part about that team. If Nick keeps hitting home runs, I don't know. I don't know if Jacob can keep up with that. But Both of them are having just such fantastic seasons at such, young ages, removed from the draft, and, just learning so much and what it takes to take the field each day and stay on it. I know Jacob got hit with a pitch and, was kind of grinding through it a little bit, but, I hope he comes back and is able to finish up the season strong. Both those guys have really bright futures, and, I'm looking forward to pitching to the A's, but maybe not to those guys, especially Nick. So we'll see.
Yeah, Nick is
By the
ridiculous
way,
right now.
by the way, what veteran answers Mason has. By the way, he's like, I hope they both can win and split the
Well-
award because they can tie. Hope they
Very
tie.
well
I mean, there's a
Very
lot of
well
ball
played.
left, a lot of ball left.
Who would
By the
you
way, how
not
did
want to
you
face?
not-
He just answered it though. He just answered who he doesn't want to face though. So that might tell
So
you who the answer is.
I
how did
gotta,
he not
guard
get-
I gotta guard the homer.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, he can get you
How
1-0
did you
real
not-
quick.
True. How did you not win Rookie of the Year? Was it because 23 counted as your rookie year? Is that why you weren't? Or was 24?
I think I was rookie of the year eligible last year. I finished fourth.
I
think
just it's mind-boggling to me that you weren't.
I think there's
even, like,
there's
really-
always, like, pre-arbitration pool, war, all that stuff. There's a little bit of disparity just in terms of, everyday players and relievers. It's hard to value a guy that's throwing 1 inning versus a guy that's playing 9. But I think everybody that knows the game knows that, as you come down this stretch and you get into the postseason, that, I think championships are oftentimes won and lost by what a bullpen can do. But those guys oftentimes just, in terms of statistically the valuing, just doesn't seem to necessarily line up. But that's kind of the way it is, and it's just my opinion, I guess.
No, you're spot. I mean, I think you're spot on, Mason. I mean, a lot of front offices have their version of WAR, right, which we use publicly, but that is used very often in front offices. I know that for a fact, or their proprietary version of it, and it often doesn't give as much credit to relievers. And then what's the most popular phone call last week? Hey, we need a high leverage arm, and 30 relievers get moved. So we can do the math there in terms of who actually is commanding a ton of prospects. I'm with you, man.
Give me a guy that throws 100 in my 9th inning. I'll take my chances more than not. Give me a guy with a 90-mile-an-hour slider and a 102-mile-an-hour heater that can throw it over the plate. I'll take my chances to win a lot of games.
I agree. Yeah, and we got a couple guys that can run it up there. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be throwing up a lot of zeros.
Mason, last one. Have you been taught already to snarl at the Dodgers? I mean, you're entering what I think is the biggest rivalry in the sport right now in terms of two teams that actually have like serious juice with some track record to it even this year.
Yeah, I know. They told me right away. Obviously, we don't like those guys a whole lot. I haven't really had a rivalry to that extent. The A's play the Mariners, play the Astros a lot, and a lot of close games, and we want to win those more than others, but not a rivalry to the sense of the Padres and the Dodgers. So I'm excited to experience that. Definitely going to be a lot of eye-opening experiences going forward, just with playing in front of all these fans and playing in these big rivalry games that mean so much.
Yeah, mid-August, coming soon. AJ's calling one of those games, so you'll see him then, right? AJ, the second series. There's 2 in August.
Yes, the one in San Diego.
Yep.
Mhm.
So 23rd, you'll see him.
By the way,
Mason,
is JP excited? Because JP's starting tonight. We didn't even ask. I mean, we asked you a little bit, but how excited is he? He gets his first start tonight against Arizona.
Yeah, he's excited. He obviously similarly didn't know exactly how he was going to fall getting here, and kind of getting down here, throwing a bullpen, figuring out when he was going to start. So similarly to me getting in my first game, I'm sure he's amped to do that tonight. And he's had some relationships with guys, dating back to his days with the Yankees. So definitely excited to be here, and we're both super pumped for this next push here.